If we take the narrow alleyway opposite the pedestrian crossing, this leads to College Street. And here we are in College Street Mews. Originally built just over 100 years ago as premises for College Street Baptist Church, these Dickensian style buildings offer several quality shops in unique surroundings. Next to the Mews is the Baptist Church, which was built in 1863 by William Hall and replaced the old College Lane meeting house, which was first used in 1697. During the building of the new chapel, services were held in the Corn Exchange by the Market Square. Behind the Baptist Church, we find ourselves in St Catherine's Gardens, once the site of St Catherine's Church. The church, built in Gothic style, was completed in January 1839, restored in 1870 and demolished in 1950, an unusually short life expectancy for such a divine building. The public gardens were laid out in 1951. There are several groups of memorial stones lying flat on the ground, giving hints that it was once sacred ground. On a wall near the centre of the gardens there is a plaque commemorating the Great Fire of Northampton, and of this the town clerk recorded that the wind was very strong to blow ye fire on, but it was God who blew ye bellows. A few steps further on and we were standing on Horse Market, now a busy dual carriageway road taking traffic around the edge of the town centre. It was in the Horse Market that stallions were sold and the mares in the old mare hold. Crossing over the main road into St Mary's Street, it seems strange to reflect that this was the street where the Great Fire of Northampton started in 1675. Helped by a strong west wind, the fire spread alarmingly quick through the medieval wooden thatched buildings that were situated in narrow streets. Within a short time the Great Fire had reached the Horse Market, spreading through the town centre as we know it today. Standing on part of Castle Hill is the Doddridge and Commercial Street United Reformed Church. The church was founded in 1662 and the original Castle Hill Chapel was built in 1695 using stones from the castle remains. Philip Doddridge, 1702-51, was a well-known and powerful preacher, minister of this church for 22 years, beginning in 1729. Opposite the church, in Chalk Lane, is a car park in which we find Castle Mound. Regrettably, this is all that remains of the once famous Norman castle. Climbing the steps leading to the viewing platform, we can see over towards the railway station, which is now called Castle Station, and situated on part of the original castle site. A short walk from Castle Mound and we find ourselves at the postern gate. This gate was originally in the castle and is now situated in the wall to the right of the station entrance. Crossing back over the road to the corner of Chalk Lane, and on this corner we find the old Black Lion public house. Set next to St Peter's Church and on historical land, it had close links with the castle. Although research into the history of this public house has yielded very little, it may be one of the oldest in Northampton by virtue of its connections with the castle. Close to the Black Lion, we can stand and admire the exterior of St Peter's Church, with its pyramid-shaped point sitting like a skull cap on top of the Norman tower and surrounded by 17th century battlements. Built in 1160 by Simon de St Liz, probably the grandson of Simon the builder of the Holy Sepulchre, and on the site of the original Saxon church, the exterior rugged walls of the aisles have many Norman arches. This is also a characteristic of the tower, which, although retaining much of its Norman character, was rebuilt in the early 17th century. Entering the church from the north door and through the Norman arches, the immediate impact is one of utter amazement. The decorative arcading on the nave arches and the pier carvings is fabulous. Investigating the capitals of the columns, and we find carved heads, foliage, animals and winged creatures. A plaque on the church railings informs us that this was the site of an early Saxon settlement around AD 400 to 650. Further findings suggest that this may have been the original Hamptune settlement and was possibly a royal estate that grew into an important Danish town around AD 900. A little further down on the right of Mayfair is Hazelrigg House. This famous house, a typical merchant's home, was built in 1662 for the Hazelrigg family and fortunately escaped destruction in the Great Fire. It was restored in 1988 and is a fine example of Elizabethan architecture, originally having 5 bays but now only 3 remain. Tradition has it that Cromwell slept here prior to the Battle of Naseby in June 1645, hence the alternative name Cromwell House. According to records, the principal Hazelrigg died in the Tower of London. Just past Hazelrigg House is Free School Street. It's hard to believe that in medieval times St Gregory's Church, probably of Norman origin, was sited here. Later, in 1541, 3 years after the dissolution of monasteries by Henry VIII, Thomas Chipsey founded and endowed land for the Free School. It was to be a grammar school for the education of the boys of his native town. Crossing the road, we come to the corner of Gold Street. It is at this point where the original Saxon-Danish town centre was.